Hi, guys. You're back. Awesome. All right. We have, of course, chapters 11 through 15 of Harbor Me, but we also have our author question. So today, the question is, do you have brothers and sisters? I have an older brother named Hope and an older sister, Odella, and a younger brother, Roman. I'm the only one in my family with a name you've rarely heard of before, except the name Hope, but it's usually given to a girl. My grandfather's name was Hope. His wife, my paternal grandma, was named Grace. I think that's pretty cool that their names were Hope and Grace. If you want to know more about them all, read Brown Girl Dreaming. Oh, she wrote a book about her grandparents. Oh, even though I'm 5 feet 10 inches tall, I'm the shortest person in my family. Wow, she must have a lot of tall people in her family. And the other question for today is, where were you born? Columbus, Ohio, but I spent my early life in Greenville, South Carolina. We moved to Brooklyn when I was about 7. And I think if I remember right, she still lives in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure about that. Let's double check. Yes, she still lives in Brooklyn. All right. Are you ready to get moving along? Okay. Chapter 11. It's like every day gives me something new to miss about my poppy, Esteban said the week before Halloween. There's all these holidays coming now. He left the circle and went over to the windowsill. Someone, maybe Ms. Laverne, had put pillows along the ledge, and bright sun was coming in. When he climbed up onto the ledge, he looked like a silhouette, like someone Amari could draw, like someone who would make a beautiful painting. Amari took out his colored pencils and his sketch pad. We heard that my poppy's somewhere in Florida now, Esteban told us. It's like a jail, but my poppy didn't do anything bad. He was just working in the factory, and they came and took him. Amari cursed, and the word came out like a punch against the wall. None of us said anything because we all wanted to curse or punch a wall too. The word was stuck in our hearts and throats and mouths. But they'll let him go, won't they? Ashton said. I mean, they can't just take people away like that and keep them. That's just all kinds of unfair, bro. Wake up, Ashton. Amari didn't look up from his drawing as he spoke. This is America, supposed to be the land of the free, but we free? Nah, we got rules everywhere we step. No running, no cursing, no playing, no yelling, no staying up late, no this and no that. Now, grown-ups, they're the free ones. And if it's not grown-ups all up and down our backs, it's teachers. Not Miss Laverne, Holly said. Amari flicked his hand into the air, his eyes rolling up to the ceiling. She put us here, he said. She didn't say, y'all want to come to the art room? She said, y'all go into the art room. That's freedom. That's power. We got freedom, Holly glared at him. It's not like before when we couldn't swim in pools or go to stores and stuff like that because we were black or something. It's not segregation. Nope, Amari said, it's not. So we should stand up and cheer for America, I guess. He rolled his eyes again. We can live anywhere we want. You could live anywhere you want, he said. You're a rich girl, Holly. Can Tiago live anywhere? Can Ashton live in Connecticut anymore? Yeah, I can, Ashton said. How? Ashton shrugged. Just move back. We could just move back someday. With what money? Ashton looked down at his desk and didn't say anything. Nah, Tiago said. Amari's right. We're not so free. Can't even walk around with your hood on if you want, Amari said. And even here, we got uniforms. That's free? No one said anything. Yeah, Amari said, answering his own question. Didn't think so. He went back to his drawing. When I leaned over to look, I could see that most of the paper was covered with colorful guns, blue ones, green ones, and yellow ones. Why are you drawing those? Amari looked at me like he was surprised. Why are you so nosy, Red? He covered more of the paper with his arm and kept on drawing. Hey, Amari, my friend asked, why are you drawing guns, Holly said, and you know her name. It's just a picture, Esteban said. A picture can't hurt you. It's like the same thing as a poem, but not in words. Amari held up the piece of paper and aimed it at Holly. Pow! Mind your own business. Now these are words to go with my picture. I'm going to tell Ms. Laverne you're up here threatening people, Holly said. Amari looked sadder than anything for a minute, like if someone touched his shoulder, he'd start to cry. But then, just like that, his face went back to normal. He held up the paper, aimed it at Holly again, and dropped his voice down to a creepy whisper. Can't tell anybody anything. We are all alone now. I guess that means we're free. Even Holly couldn't think of anything to say to that. That is kind of creepy, huh? Chapter 12. The next day I received a letter from my father. I stood shivering in front of our mailbox, staring at the long envelope. My father's name, prison address, and number in the upper left-hand corner. My own name and address in my father's curling handwriting across the middle. I stood on our stoop and stared up the block. 2 men were walking a gray dog. One said something, and the other threw his head back and laughed. They were too far away for me to hear the laughter, but I could see it. Their faces seemed so happy, so free. I thought about what Amari had said the day before, about how none of us are really free, then looked down at the letter again. I had known my dad before he went to prison, but didn't remember any of it. Did he ever tickle me, throw me in the air, catch me? Did he ever push me on a swing in the park or talk to me through a tantrum? When I remembered these things, it was always my uncle I saw. I put the envelope against my nose and sniffed it. His letters always smelled like prison, like bleached floors and the vague hint of sour milk. My uncle was in the city playing music with some friends of his from college. When I got back inside, the house felt too quiet, too empty. I sat in the window seat and held the envelope in both hands, turning it over and over. Outside, the leaves on the tree started blowing silently, like the man's laughter. They had long ago turned brown, and above them the sky was incredibly blue. I don't know how long I stared up at it before finally opening my father's letter. I was afraid. I think something inside my heart broke when he didn't come down for us the last time we visited. Something I didn't even know was breakable just fell apart inside me. Dear Haley, I'm sorry I didn't show up last time. I will never not show up for you again. Not while I'm here inside, not when I'm on the outside again. I know you have so many questions for me. One day I hope to be sitting at a table across from you. No inmates and guards around us, no noisy television, no cold gray room, no intercom blasting names and demands and rules. For as long as you could talk, Haley, you've only known me as a prisoner. I look forward to the day when that's no longer who I am to you. Love, your father. I got to the end of the letter and went back to the beginning. I'm sorry I didn't show up. Love, your father. I did love him. I'd only ever really known him in his prison uniform and inside those gray rooms. I'd only ever really known how hard he hugged me, how his eyes got bright when he saw us standing there, how it always looked like he wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Love your father, no matter what, my uncle always said. You love your father. I folded the letter back into its envelope, ran my fingers over my name. My father's hand had written those letters. He had sat in his cell, bent over the page, and wrote those words, I'm sorry. Forgive and forget, my uncle said, staring at those letters. I thought, I could forgive my father, but I could never forget. I'd lock every moment of memory inside a room in my brain and hope they'd multiply like cells in our bodies until I was a grown-up, all filled with memories. Maybe that's what made us free. Maybe it was our memories, the stuff we survived, the good stuff and the bad stuff. I climbed the stairs slowly, the third one creaking, the fifth one slanting downward. From memory, I knew how my feet would land on each stair. I knew how my door would whine as I closed it. I knew the water rattling through the pipes when my uncle showered, and how the dog in the backyard across from ours barked every morning when its owner let it out. Everything around me was as familiar as my purple comforter, as easy as saying my own name. I sniffed the letter again before putting it in the drawer with the others, then lay down on my bed and wrapped my comforter around me. Chapter 13. Think about the familiar. Every morning you get up, you brush your teeth and wash your face and put on the clothes you'll be wearing that day. Days roll into weeks and weeks turn into months. The leaves start falling from the trees. A wind comes from the north and makes you shiver so hard your teeth chatter. Every morning you eat breakfast at school with your friends. You tear into the bagels and slurp up cereal and side-eye the suspicious-looking eggs. You and your friends laugh over silly stuff. Tiago's Santa hat with the white beard attached, and the silly faces he makes whenever he wears it. Amari's drawings of dogs with wings, cats with crutches, impossible ice cream sundaes like wishes on a paper. Think about what you know, How the mornings always come too quickly and the weekends don't last long enough. How your uncle has always shaved the left side of his face before the right, for good luck, from habit, the familiar. The trips to Malone, Taco Tuesday, stories at night, hair at Holly's house, the familiar. A lady with a tiny black dog leaves her building every morning just as you're leaving yours, and she waves and you wave. But that's the only time you've ever seen her. We knew what we knew. We did what we'd always done. Then one day, Ms. Laverne said, "Put your pencils down and come with me." We left our classroom and walked down the hall to the art room. The familiar popped like a bubble above our heads, but we held tight to our knapsacks and kept on walking. Chapter 14. For the 2 weeks after Halloween, we snuck our candy into the ARTT room, trading and sharing it until our stomachs twisted up from too much chocolate and our tongues burned from Sour Patch Kids and Jolly Ranchers. The half moons beneath Esteban's eyes grew darker, and some days his uniform looked like he'd slept in it. He had left the circle completely, sitting on the windowsill and staring out at the schoolyard. One Friday, just as we entered the ARTT room, without saying a word, Ashton and Amari started moving our desks. They arranged them around Esteban at the window. None of us said anything, but Esteban looked up. Then he smiled. We took our seats in the new circle, like it was just a regular Friday, but the circle was a little smaller now, our chairs closer together. We were closer together. Amari pulled out his sketchbook and started drawing. Then just as quickly, he snapped it shut. "Hey, Red, can I talk into your recorder? I got something I want to say." "Sure." I nearly spilled my whole knapsack rushing to get the recorder for Amari. When I handed it to him, he turned it around and around in his hands. "It's the button on the top that starts recording me, right?" I nodded. "My name's Amari," he rapped. "Rhymes with Atari. I'm an old school like that. I'm a smooth like that." "Oh, man," Holly said, "you are not going to spit weak raps into history, are you?" Amari looked like he was ready to say something back at her. Then he sat up, his lips pressing together. "Wait a minute," he said slowly. 20 years. We all meet back in this room, and you can play this for us. My voice is already changing, so let me catch it like it is." He smiled. "Your voice is so not changing," Holly said. "Keep dreaming." Ashton rolled his eyes at her. "Jealous, that's all you are." "Nope, believe it or not. I don't want my voice to change. Sweet and fine the way it is." The other guys smiled, but Amari just looked at Holly. She stared right back. "Why don't you two get married and get it over with?" Ashton said. Both Amari and Holly made gagging sounds, but my stomach double flipped and landed hard. No, they hated each other. No, Ashton was wrong. But then I saw the edges of Holly's lips turn up. "Whatever," Amari said, turning back to me. "If it was cool with Esteban, I'm good. Just don't play it for nobody but us. 20 years from now, we can all meet right back here in this room, the 6 of us." "That'd be cool," Tiago said. "Yeah," Esteban agreed. "That'd be nice. We'd be old, though." "Red's going to be the first one I recognize," Amari said. I smiled. 20 years seemed like 100 years. I couldn't even imagine a room without the 6 of us in it. One day we wouldn't be in Ms. Laverne's class, but Amari would recognize me. Esteban had stopped smiling. So had the others. "It's strange to imagine us not together anymore," Ashton said. "I know it hasn't been that long, but—" "Yeah, but still," Amari said. "So let's make a promise." Holly slapped both hands down on the arm of the desk. 20 years from now, no matter where we're living, no matter what, we'll meet back here in the ARTT room. "Kick any little kids in here out," Ashton said, "because we were here first." Amari held up the recorder. "And Red will bring this and we'll listen to ourselves." I nodded. The green light on the recorder was still on. "It's recording us," I said. "Cool," Amari said. "You think you can hold on to this thing for 20 years? "Yeah," I said. "Sounds corny," Ashton said. "But it sounds really cool, too. Because mostly when you move away from someplace, you don't see people again, and you don't even remember what they sound like." He got quiet, looked down at his lap and sighed. It was such a deep and heartbreaking sound. A sound I knew wouldn't sound any less sad over the years. A sound I'd hear again and again and remember Ashton, his head down,